Hello everyone. Today we will learn a poem, Chivvy. This poem is written by Michael Rosen. Stanza 1. Grown-ups say things like speak up, don't talk with your mouth full, don't stare, don't point, don't pick your nose. The poem opens up with a long list of instructions. These instructions are being issued by the adults to their young ones. Speak up, don't talk while your mouth is full of food, don't stare, do not point at anyone, or do not pick your nose. Stanza 2. Sit up, say please, less noise, shut the door behind you, don't drag your feet. Haven't you got a hanky? Take your hands out of your pockets. The second stanza of the poem continues with yet another set of instructions. The poet continues to emphasize on how the young children are directed to act in accordance with the instruction issued by the adults. Each activity of the child is administered and put under the surveillance of the grown-ups. Stanza 3. Pull your socks up. Stand up straight. Say thank you. Don't interrupt. No one thinks you are funny. Take your elbows off the table. Can't you make your own mind up about anything? The final couplet of the poem shows that perhaps the young child has grown up. However, the adults around him continue to instruct him. The child is unable to decide anything for himself. He is not certain about anything. It's quite ironical as the entire childhood of this child was spent blindly following the instructions, and he is expected to decide on his own when he is grown up. The poem Chivvy by Michael Rosen talks about how parents and elders try to impose rules on children. He mentions how parents ask children to sit or stand according to their wish. Children are even taught not to talk when they have food in their mouth, not to rest their elbows on the table, etc. They are taught not to point at anyone or stare at anything, as it might grab attention. They are taught to use polite words like thank you and please. They are always expected to be active, not to slouch or drag their feet. The poem provides a list of different do's and don'ts that adults impose on children to teach them good manners. The grown-ups regularly offer the children a list of instructions. The poet questions the elders why they cannot keep their suggestions to themselves. The poet then depicts a point when the child has matured and is unable to make his own decisions. The same adults then blame the grown-up child for their inability to think for themselves. What is the central idea of the poem? The poem is a collection of do's and don'ts that parents keep on reminding the children about. When the children want to use their minds to do something on their own, they are forbidden to do so. However, if they just obey their orders, it is assumed that they are incapable of using their own judgment. What does the word Chivvy mean? The word Chivvy means to constantly nag, urge, or pressure someone to do something, especially with repeated instructions or reminders. Adults often make it a practice to urge children to follow some etiquette or stop them from doing certain things to teach them appropriate manners. What are the consequences when the children are instructed regularly? When the children are dominated and forced to listen, they lack respect and get annoyed. Continuous instructions make the children dependent on their parents for the rest of their lives. When the adults give too many instructions to their children, they kill their children's willingness to use their mind to understand life. These instructions take away their innocence, making them dependent on their elders. Don't talk with your mouth full. What does this line mean? This line is an instruction given to the children. The elders tell the children not to talk while eating food because it shows bad manners. The elders do not like children eating and talking simultaneously. Are the young ones dominated? How do they feel? The children are continuously instructed to learn good manners. They feel dominated and annoyed when they are persistently instructed to follow their instructions. They would like to be free. Say thank you. Who says this line and why? The adults instruct this phrase to teach children good manners and polite behavior. It's part of a long list of instructions meant to help children behave properly in society. But the poet uses this line to show how repetitive and controlling adults can be. Instead of letting children learn naturally, they often chivvy, means nag, them with constant commands. What does this line from the poem suggest? Don't drag your feet. The line "Don't drag your feet" from Chivvy by Michael Rosen suggests that adults often tell children to walk properly and with energy, not slowly or lazily. It shows how adults want children to behave in their certain way, neat, quick, and proper. This line is a part of a long list of instructions that children hear all the time. The poet uses it to show how constant correction can feel tiring or annoying to kids. It's not just about walking, it's about being told how to act every moment. Why is the child asked to stand straight? Stand straight is one of the advice thrown to the child repeatedly. The child is instructed to stand straight because this shows that the child is attentive. Michael Rosen uses this line to show how children are constantly corrected, even in small things like how they stand. It's not just about posture. It's about how adults want children to act a certain way all the time. The last two lines of the poem are not prohibitions or instructions. What is the adult now asking the child to do? Do you think the poet is suggesting that this is unreasonable? Why? The last two lines of the poem pose an irony. These are not prohibitions or instructions. Here, the adult asks the children to take independent decisions. Before this, the adult gave lots of rules, telling the child what to do all the time. Now suddenly they want the child to think alone. Yes, the poet suggests that this is unreasonable. Usually, the grown-ups expect young ones to listen and follow the instructions of adults blindly, and suddenly they expect the children to take their decisions. The poet is showing that too many instructions can confuse children. If you always tell them what to do, how can they learn or think for themselves? Why do you think grown-ups say the lines mentioned in the poem? Is it important that they teach children good manners and how to behave in public? Adults repeatedly instruct their children for various reasons. They are trying to impart proper manners and the standards of a sophisticated life. Yes, it is important that adults teach children good manners and how to behave in public because they have experienced and learned these things. But in the whole process, the natural instincts of the children are sometimes suppressed, and this takes away the innocence of the child. What is the message of the poem? The poet gives the message that parenting is a responsible job and should be done with utmost care, or else it can damage the child's mental growth. Children should be given opportunity to explore themselves and find what is right and wrong, and eventually they will develop confidence and learn to take up responsibilities. They might begin to hate their elders because of their constant nagging. Ironically, the parents scold and ask their children throughout his childhood to do exactly what he is told. The child, after growing up, is unable to make the decisions and is again being scolded by their parents. The poem concludes with the note that adults shouldn't get too involved in the lives of children. How do you think the poet wants us to feel? The poem Chivvy has been composed by the poet Michael Rosen. The poem deals with the feelings of the poet like other small kids who feel irritated by the elders always instructing them what to do or not to do. The grown-ups always say things like speak up, don't stare, don't point, don't pick your nose, sit up, say please, less noise, etc. He wants us to notice how too many rules can make children feel confused or tired. The poet leaves a question to elders. Why can't they keep their suggestions to themselves? Figures of speech, alliteration, words close together start with the same sound. Don't drag your feet, stand straight. Figures of speech, repetition. The word don't is repeated many times. It shows how adults keep saying the same kind of things. Thank you.